Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podango puppy, Sophie. Welcome. If you're looking for me on Ravelry, I am Cristi-Lael, and on Instagram, I am Cristi-Lael without the dash. And this is a knitting podcast. So I've got lots of knitting to show you, which is probably pretty apropos. Okay, so I'm going to show you a plethora of finished objects. I'm also going to show you a plethora of whips, and just, in order to keep with the theme, I'm going to show you a plethora of haul. So I guess the first thing that I will show you is my November Hippo for the Holidays hat. As you know, I've been knitting a hat out of Lolo Did It's yarn in the Hippo for the Holidays colorways or the Yeti Goes To colorways. I've done one every month this year, and I'm getting close to finishing up. So this is November's. Today is November 30th, by the way, Saturday. So here it is. This is a pattern of my own creation. I just kind of cobbled together something and have knit the same hat every month this year. I'm using, at the beginning of the year I was using Lolo Did It's Simple Worsted, but she hasn't been dyeing the Hippo or Yeti colorways on the Simple Worsted. For the past several months, she's been dyeing it on the Simple DK. So in an effort to not have to fiddle around with my numbers and whatnot, I went ahead and started holding it double with some mohair, which makes the DK more of a worsted weight. And been knitting the same pattern. This is a double brimmed hat. So I'm knitting, basically casting on 96 stitches on a US 5 and knitting 2x2 rib for 40 rows, and then I fold it in half and knit the top or the cast on edge together with the live stitches, making a nice warm double brimmed hat, and then I increase up to 100 stitches and up to a US 7 needle and knit until the hat is 7 inches long, and then I start decreasing, which is a very simple knit 8, knit 2 together for one round, and then knit a round plain, then knit 7, knit 2 together for one round, knit 1 round plain, knit 6, knit 2 together, and so on until I have none left, or until I have 10 left, and then I thread the yarn through the 10 live stitches, cinch it up, and that's the end. It's super simple. I have that written down on every project page for all of my Hippo / Yeti hats, which are on my Ravelry. There are 10 of them. There's 11 of them now, and they are all titled Hippo / Yeti hat number whatever. And yeah, maybe one of these days I'll write it down and put it out as a free pattern. It's not hard, so I wouldn't charge anything for it, but I'm happy to share. This hat I used leftovers. This was Hippo for spring 2019, and then for the body of the hat I did the helical technique and basically did one row of Hippo for Mom 2019, and then the second row was Hippo for Summer 2019, and just kept going around like that. And actually I kind of cut quite a lot of corners with this hat because I was going to run out of the mohair. This is Rowan Kid Silk Haze. I don't remember the colorway, but it's white. It's like a very, very light gray. And so I was going to run out, so I only used the mohair with the Hippo for Summer Yeah, on the body of the hat. I used it for the entire brim, and then on the body of the hat, I only used it when I was knitting with the hippo for summer 2019. So if I was knitting with the hippo for mom, it was just the hippo for mom by itself. But because it was only every other row, it didn't really change my gauge too much. This hat is for Delaney, so it could be a little bit smaller because she is only almost 12, and so she's got a smaller head. And then I did run out, I don't know if you can tell, but I ran out right around here of the mohair. So all of this here at the top is just plain DK weight yarn. You know, you can get away with some things when it's for your daughter. I don't think it's I don't think it's too much of a problem. So yeah, that is hippo hat number 11. I have one more left to make. I've got a shadow from my light. Hang on a second. That's better. And then I have another FO that belongs on the head and neck area, and that is the final cowl of the 3 brioche cowls that I was knitting for my father, my husband, and my uncle. This one took me forever. I was tired of it. I was tired working with this yarn. I was tired of knitting these patterns because they're all very similar. And yeah, so it took me a long time to get through this one, but it is done. However, the ends have not been woven in, so please forgive me about that. They just totally mess up my hair. I've been wearing a hat all day. It's super cold outside. We had a major snowstorm on Tuesday of this past week and got like a foot of snow, and it hasn't hardly been above 35 degrees since, so there's still lots and lots of snow outside. And in fact, today it is super cold and kind of windy, so we were out doing some holiday things, and we're all wearing hats, so my hair is a little discombobulated, but that's okay. Anyway, so here it is. It's just a basic cowl. This is the Opportunity Cross, but it's kind of a bastardized version of it because I didn't want to cross it. So it was originally supposed to go like this and then back, and I didn't want to deal with that, so I just kind of made it a diagonal thing. And because this is done with, cables instead of a brioche, a normal way you make changes in brioche is to do increases and decreases, which is what is used in the Opportunity Skewed that I made for Ron. This one was done with cables, so that means that the brioche is not fully reversible like it normally is. So here is the other side. I mean, it doesn't look bad. You could, I guess, wear it this way if you liked it, but it doesn't have the same, you know, brioche is known for being completely reversible, and this is not, you know, it's not exactly the same on either side, but it is done. This I knit out of Plymouth tweed, Plymouth yarn Encore tweed, in black and red. I don't remember the colorways. All of the information is on my project pages, as I've said, and I had 3 skeins. My dad and husband each wanted a cowl, and so I figured, well, I'd make one for Uncle as well. So Dad's was black and oatmeal, and Ron's was oatmeal and red, and Uncle's is black and red. So I was able to use up most all of the yarn of the 3 skeins for the 3 cowls, and now they are done. And this will be a Christmas gift for Uncle, along with a pair of socks that I knit him back in May that was supposed to be for his birthday, and did not get finished in time for his birthday. So they're going to be part of his Christmas gift as well. Okay, so the other finished objects I have are all socks, and I think they are completely, let me look. Nope, no, I was going to say they were completely knit from the sock tubes that I've been having Michelle wind up for me on commission, but no, I have one pair that has been knit completely by hand. So let's start with that pair. You guys have seen these socks. I showed them in the last podcast as a whip. So here they are finished. Look at how cute those are. So this is Christmas sock pair number 7 or 8, I think. I still haven't even gotten enough to do 12 Days of Christmas, so I will not be wearing these this year. For those of you new to the podcast, I'm totally stealing Amy Florence's idea of knitting 31 pairs of Christmas socks to wear every day in December. I'm hoping that maybe by next December I will have them ready to go, but this December they will not be. This is White Birch Fiber Arts in the colorway Santa Baby. White Birch is an amazing stripy dyer, and I grabbed these a while back, and I'm very glad to finally have knit them up. I used my regular self-striping sock recipe, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called Cristi's Self-Striping Recipe, I think. Cristi's Stripy Sock Recipe, maybe that's it. But it's a Turkish toe cast on an afterthought heel, 1x1 ribbing with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. And yeah, I absolutely love them. So that is another pair of Christmas socks ready to go for next December. Next, I have one of many pairs of socks that I finished from the tubes that Michelle, who is Apple Juice on Ravelry and on Etsy, cranked for me on her circular sock machine. She is an amazing cranker, and I will link her Etsy shop down below. She had very reasonably priced cranked tubes with which you then add the heels and toes and cuffs too, and you have yourself a pair of socks. I have so much sock yarn that I've reached Sable, which is stash achieved beyond life expectancy. I don't know that I could ever knit all the sock yarn that I have. Plus, I still continue to purchase sock yarn. So yeah. So it's nice to have Michelle around so I can give her a little bit of money, and she cranks these tubes out for me, which helps her out, helps me out, because then all I have to do is add heels and toes, which is great because I have family members, i.e. my mother and my husband and my daughter, who want to have all of the knit socks all of the time. So this helps me keep them in fresh socks, and it also allows me to knit other things because as a full-time worker, I do not have, as a full-time accountant, I don't have the time to knit that I did when I was a stay-at-home mom, which means that it takes me a lot longer to get things done, and I don't want to spend all of my time knitting socks as much as I love knitting socks, and I do. I think that's apparent when you think that just in the past month or so, I knit my 300th pair of socks, and those are all hand knit from start to finish. My 300th pair of socks. So yes, I love knitting socks, but I also love knitting other things, and so this way I can still get a pair of socks done and not feel so pressured to get only socks done. I can work on other things because there's still socks being produced. It takes me less time to just knit heels, toes, and cuffs. So yeah, I'm sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. But if you recall last podcast, I had showed you a pair that I had knit out of Molly Girl yarns in her bouncer base. The colorway was Can You Tell Me the Way to Sesame Street? Or Can You Tell Me How to Get to Sesame Street? This was a skein that probably came to me, well, no, definitely came to me, compromised. It had either been cut through several strands or had some moth damage. It was one of the ones that I had swapped for ages and ages and ages ago, and poor Michelle had such a hard time winding it for me. She got kind of too no, one good size tube and then two smaller tubes. So I was able to get a pair of socks for myself, shorty socks out of the good size tube. Then I was going to try to get one more pair of shorty socks out of the two smaller tubes, and I was successful. I chose not to put contrasting heels and toes into these because I had leftover. When Michelle ran into the like 1,800th cut piece or broken bit, and had the three small tubes, or the three tubes, we kind of agreed that it was time to stop cranking. So she sent me back the rest, and it was about 20 grams, and it was actually 20 grams of solid. I didn't come into any more cut bits or broken bits, so I used that for the heels and toes on this, and then just made them Rose City Rollers type socks for my daughter. So I just put in the toes and the heels on this. I didn't knit the rest. The rest of the sock was knit on Michelle's machine. So she has a circular sock machine, and I asked her to do it on 64 stitches, which is what I use for my socks. She also, I think, has a 72 stitch thing. I don't know what they're called. The piece, 72 stitches. So you can have your socks. If you hire her to crank your tubes, you can have them in 64 stitches or 72 stitches. And I use size 1s. The gauge is about 8 to 9 stitches per inch, and that is exactly the same as my hand knitting gauge. So it works out perfectly. You really can't tell the difference between where her machine knit and my machine's knit. So yeah, I am very pleased with all of her tubes, and will continually hire her to do that. Another pair that I had a full pair finished for myself last podcast, and managed to get another shorty pair for Delaney, is this one. And the nice thing about Delaney is that she does not care if anything matches. She doesn't care if anything matches, really. I mean, if you saw the picture that I posted on Instagram from Thanksgiving, then you'll see that she really doesn't care if anything matches. So it makes it nice. I'm able to use little leftovers for her heels and toes, because I only need a little under 3 grams per heel or toe or cuff. So I can, if I've got a little bit out of a 20-gram ball, I've got 3 grams left, I can make one heel out of that, or one toe. And so it works out perfectly for when I need to do stuff like this with socks. So these are, this yarn is Rockin' String Creations. The colorway is, it's her Jitterbug Fingering, and the colorway is Good Vibrations. I love this colorway. It is so bright and happy. I made myself a pair of socks out of this, as I showed you on the last podcast, and I have worn them every time they've been clean, because they're just so much fun. And I just used some Lolo Did It, little Lolos, in little 3-gram leftovers for that, for the heels and toes. I don't remember the colors, unfortunately. Well, I do remember on these. Like, this one is Troll Hair, and this one is Sunglasses Not Included. But I don't remember. This one might have been Mint Julep. And maybe this one is Wonka. But don't quote me on that. Anyway, yeah, super fun. Little shorty socks. Delaney rolls down her socks if they're tall. So giving her these little shorty Rose City rollers works out perfectly, because they're already rolled. They're pre-rolled socks. So yeah, that's done. And then I have 2 double pairs. So I can get 2 pairs out of each tube. I can get a full-size pair and then a shorty pair. So I've got 2 sets of that. I will show you. I'll put like one on each sock blocker, so I don't have to go through all of the since I didn't hand knit them, I don't have to like go through quite as much rigmarole about showing them to you. So these two pair were made out of Lolo Did It in her LA Lady colorway. This is on the plush sock base. I made this pair for my mom with, I think, Wonka for the toe and Coal Miner's Daughter, maybe, for the heel. And I made these taller because Mom has requested that her socks go a little bit higher. So that did limit the ability to make a full-sized second pair. So I couldn't have made shorties for myself. I made them for Delaney instead. And the first sock had both of this blue for the heel, but I ran out of the blue. So the second heel is mismatched. But again, Delaney doesn't care. So yeah, two pair with that. LA Lady is a gorgeous color. I did not know that it was going to knit up like this when it was in the skein, and I'm so glad. It's so beautiful. You guys might have seen it when I hauled it. My uncle got it for me for my birthday in May. So yeah, new skein that got knit up right away. It's always nice when that happens. It doesn't happen very often because I have so much yarn that I sometimes feel bad about the stuff that's sitting there, try to knit that up, so then the new stuff ends up sitting there because I'm knitting up the old stuff. And then I have two more pairs, one more set of pairs, one more duo of socks. I don't know. And this is just, I love this colorway. And you'll see why in just a second. Look at how beautiful it is. So this is Creative Obsession, which was the hand-dyed shop by my good friend Carrie. She has, her podcast used to be called Creative Obsession. I think it is called now Carrie Makes, maybe? Anyway, she's awesome. And is still a fantastically talented lady, but she no longer has a yarn shop, so unfortunately this is not available to purchase, which is really too bad because I could totally make a whole sweater out of this. This is her Spellbound colorway, and it's just about perfect. The heels and toes, I used Lolo Did It, Little Lolo in Blazing Sevens, which is just about my favorite color, solid orange colorway. And this pair is for myself, for obvious reasons. And then I was able to make a little pair of shorties for Delaney. However, I did not have quite enough to make full shorties, so I just took some more of that Blazing Sevens and added 10 or 12 rows to the top to kind of make that so that they would stay on her feet. So we don't want them slipping down her heels. There's nothing worse than having your socks slip down your heels, as I'm sure we all know. So yeah, that's my final two pairs done. And I was going to say that I'm now at the point where I only have one tube left, but that is not true because I just got a package yesterday that had some more tubes in it. So yeah. Some people have asked if I could post a tutorial on how to take a tube and turn it into a pair of socks, and I am going to try to do that. I'm going to try to get most of the recording of that done this weekend. This is Thanksgiving weekend for those of you in America, and so we had Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. No, I'm sorry, just Thursday and Friday, and then today and tomorrow off. So I'm hoping to get that recorded tomorrow, at least part of it, so that I can get that going. I'm also going to try to write it down and maybe have it available on Ravelry as a pattern. So I thought that was all of my finished objects, but I forgot I had one more. I don't know if you guys remember, I was going to knit the depth cowl using this fiber seed sprout DK in the Queen of Hearts. It looked like, well, actually, let me see if I can post a picture of what it looked like in the skein. And the depth cowl was a pooling cowl. It looked super cool, and I started it. I talked about it maybe 2 podcasts ago, and I just hated working on it. Because of what you're trying to do with the pooling, I had to constantly adjust my knitting tension, and I was not enjoying that. I was having to adjust needles. I was just really not enjoying it. So I decided to stop. What's the point in knitting something that isn't fun? So instead, I looked through Ravelry to try to find something else that I could knit with that yarn. And I found this beautiful little cowl that was knit with bulky yarn. So I took the DK yarn that I had, and I held it double in order to get a bulky gauge, and I knit this hood cowl. It's called Cowl for Molly, and I'll put the designer down here because I don't remember. But it's a hood that I can give to my aunt, and she can wear it with her jacket. I do like how it pooled. It gave it almost an argyle look. Let me see if I can show you what it's supposed to look like. So here you have it. It's a hood. It kind of fits into your coat, so it keeps your head and neck warm. If you want to wear it as a cowl, you can. It also keeps your head and neck warm. It does call for a button, so I do plan on sewing this button right here, just to kind of give it a little extra design prettiness. Yeah, there you go. It's simple. It has not been blocked, and I am not going to block it until my aunt has had a chance to try it, because she is a very petite woman. She is maybe 5 foot, probably like 4'11", and so I don't know. I can't judge what it'll look like on her by wearing it, because I'm much bigger than she is in every way. So I'm going to give it to her like this, and then when she tries it on, then I can decide whether or not it needs to be blocked bigger. That, my friends, is my final FO. So let's talk about whips. As I mentioned, I have several of those, and I don't know that you guys have seen any of them. You can start with my next Christmas sock. I am knitting this out of Lolo Did It plush sock in Cornucopia, which is the colorway that Uncle gave me for Christmas 2 years ago, so 2017, Christmas 2017. I have not gotten all that far on it, but I have made some progress. Here it is. When it was in the skein, I was like, why would they call it Cornucopia? Because it looked very red and green. But I kind of see now that it's got some autumn color feel to it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the way it's working up. I can't wait to get it done. But this will be my next Christmas socks. Yeah, it's been kind of put on hold, though, because I was working on it, and Ron said, babe, all my socks are dirty. You gonna do sock laundry? And I said, yeah, I'll do it on the weekend, like I do. And he said, but I don't have any more socks. I need you to make me more socks. So I put my Christmas sock on hold and started working on a pair of socks for Ron. Because when your husband asks for socks, you want to make him socks. Actually, I've got a hoe, which is a half-finished object that I can show you. Here is his first sock. Is this not the most awesome colorway? This is Regia Perfect, which, if you're not familiar, it is button band looks like this. Button band. The yarn band, what's it called? Ball band. The ball band looks like this. And it's meant to work to make two exactly matching pairs of socks. No, I'm sorry, two matching socks, one pair of socks. So it is very simple. I like it because it's hard wearing. Ron likes, he's a guy, so it's good to get him socks that are going to be more workhorse. And I love this idea of having a nice stripy leg and then a plain foot sock. So yeah, this colorway is 07118. I don't know that it has a color or a name, but I do like these. I knit him another pair before last year, and he wears those regularly. That one I did with a heel flap and gusset, but this one I just decided to do a fish lips kiss heel, even though it's top down. It totally works with a fish lips kiss heel. And yeah, I absolutely love these colors in here. So I'm probably going to end up getting him some more over time. This is the last skein of Regia. I do have some other workhorse yarns that I could make into socks for him. Yeah. So I do have the second one cast on, but I've only done like 2 rows, so not much to look at. But here it is, wound up. It doesn't come like this. It comes in like the opal balls. But since I finished the first sock, I went ahead and rewound the second, the second half like that. So yeah, this is the socks that I've been working on recently. And when I finish it, I will get back onto my Christmas socks. Then, so you guys know that I've been working since the summer, off and on a Hippo Scrappy sweater, using all of the Hippo for the holidays sock yarn that I had knit into socks for the past 2 years, for 2017 and 2018. And I just had finished the body of that sweater when we'd gone to Utah in October, the beginning of October. So I just had the sleeves left to do, and so, a responsible knitter would have sat down and finished those sleeves, because it's cold, as I've mentioned, and a nice, snuggly, warm DK weight sweater would be great right now. It's a pullover, so it would be perfect for this kind of weather. However, I am not a responsible knitter, so instead of finishing the sweater that is almost done, I decided to cast on another one, because that's what you do, right? So, I kind of decided to do like instant gratification, and I cast on the, I don't know how you pronounce this, Taiga sweater, which is designed by Svetlana Volkova. And I fell in love with this ages ago. This has been in my queue for years. Fell in love with it, wanted it forever, bought yarn for it last year, maybe, beginning of last year, and then had it just sitting, and I finally decided, you know what, let's go ahead and cast it on. So I have. and I've made decent progress. I had hoped to get further through it to be able to show you something grand, but I didn't. So I can at least show you this much. I've gotten the upper body almost completely done. It's off the sleeve. The sleeves are off, and you can see I'm working my way through the color work chart, but I haven't gotten very far. And part of the reason why I haven't gotten very far is because working on this hurts my hands so much. I just, like, if I work on it several hours in an evening, I wake up in the morning and my hands hurt. So, so I've kind of had to like take breaks, especially with this color work bit. It is difficult. The pattern is meant to be meant to be knit flat all the way down, but I am lazy, so I decided to do a steek. So I've got these 6 stitches right here that are meant to be for the steek. So I'll finish the color work, and then when I'm done, I will cut that. I will sew a steek on either side and cut it up to make it into a cardigan again. You can see, maybe you can see the color work a little bit better here. Yeah, so as I said, this is super bulky yarn. This yarn is Hawthorne, Hayfield, super chunky with wool. It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I don't normally knit with acrylic, but buying a sweater's worth of super bulky, at least this sweater's worth of super bulky, was going to cost more than I was willing to spend. So, so yeah, I got some that was a wool blend, and it's fine. I mean, it hurts to knit with because it's so big. I'm using, for the body of the sweater, I was using a 10.5, US 10.5 needle. For the color work, I've gone up to an 11. So, needles are big, you know, it's taking some time. The colorways I'm using is shade 59 and 0701. I'm not sure what they're called, but it's red and purple. And yeah, so like I said, it's been hurting my hands, so I was like, okay, I cannot work on this every day, even though I'm really enjoying it. Not as much enjoying the color work part, but just because it takes more, I have to pay closer attention. But I'm enjoying, you know, the knit. I'm enjoying watching it grow, and because it's knit on such big needles with such big yarn, it grows fast. But like I said, it's hurting my hands. So I was like, okay, well, I need to find something else to work on intermittently with this. So a responsible knitter would go back to the DK weight sweater that is mostly done. However, we have discussed, not a responsible knitter, so I decided to cast on another sweater. Why not? You can have all the sweaters going, right? This is a sweater for Delaney, so it's much smaller, which is nice. It also means that it works up quicker, and it's using fingering weight yarn, which means it doesn't hurt my hands. And so I am knitting the Flax Light pullover for Delaney, which is a design by Tin Can Knits, and I am using yarn that was sent to me for review way too long ago. This is Zen Yarn Garden. They contacted me and asked if I would do a review, sent me the yarn. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love working with it. I was going to make it into a shawl. I started the shawl. I showed it to you ages ago, like in the summer, maybe even in the spring. And I love the yarn, but I didn't want to make the shawl. And not because the pattern was bad because the pattern is great. It was an Andrea Maury, one of her fading shawls, not Find Your Fade, but one of the other ones. Free Your Fade, maybe. Anyway, I just didn't want. I didn't want to knit a shawl, and so I put it off and put it off and put it off, and I decided, you know what? Why don't I reuse this yarn for something that I actually want to knit? So I decided to scrap the shawl, and I am now knitting Delaney the thing, the Flax Light. So I'm using Zen Yarn Gardens Serenity 20, and it was a set of 3 that they sent me. There's scallions, violet scallions. No, I'm sorry. There's splatter. I don't know. So it came with I think the idea was that they would send, it was like a trio meant to coordinate with each other. So one was a speckled yarn, one was a semi-solid, and then one was a variegated. So the speckled yarn is this one. It's beautiful. The semi-solid is this gorgeous green. And then the variegated is this beautifulness. So I have started with, I'm kind of making it like a fade sweater. So started with the speckled, and then I have faded into the semi-solid. You see, I've made a decent amount of progress. I've got about 4 more inches left to do on the body, and then the ribbing. So I'm getting about ready to fade into the darker shade, and you can tell that I saved some of this left over for the sleeves so that I can do the fade on the sleeves as well. And it's super fun to knit. This yarn is so soft. It is 70% superfine superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. It's so soft. It feels so good to knit with, especially when you compare it to the rougher sock yarn in the Regia Perfect that I'm making into socks for Ron, and then this, which is not a rough yarn, but it is not a super soft yarn. So yeah, this is just like butter, really. Super enjoyable. This pattern is great. I knit the regular flax for Tatum 2 years ago, and it's a sweater that Delaney stole and now wears all the time. And in fact, one of the reasons why I decided that she needed another one is because the dog chewed a hole in one of the strands on the regular flax, and it took me a little while to repair it. And so for a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, she was wearing this fleece hoodie that we picked up at a store, but then she left it at school and then kept forgetting to pick it up. And so she just, like, for a week didn't have a sweater to wear. She had her coat, but it wasn't quite cold enough for a coat. It was perfect sweater weather, and so I figured, this child needs another sweater. So this one obviously isn't great for the deep, deep winters that we're dealing with right now because it's fingering weight, but it will be perfect for the spring and fall times. So yeah, really, really enjoying this knit. I started this just, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, so it's really moving very fast. Super fun to knit. And that is all that I currently have on the needles, but I do have plans for other knits that need to be started soon. For example, I have my final hippo hat, which I am going to be knitting out of Lola Did It Hippo for Halloween. I know I had said that I was going to knit this for my November hat, but obviously I didn't, so it will be knit for my December hat, and that will be the last hippo hat that I will have to knit. And while I have enjoyed it, I have really enjoyed knitting these hats this year. I this will be my last. I've got to knit some other dyers yarns because I've knit so much Lolo Did It in the past 3 years. And she's an amazing dyer, don't get me wrong, an amazing dyer. But all of the yarn that's in my cedar chest and up here on my shelf, and in that basket, and in that basket, and over there, and you know, it's time to knit other things. So there's that. But before I finish Lolo Did It, I've got to knit a little bit more. I've got to knit the hat, and then Delaney asked me if I could knit her 2 BFFs and herself, pairs of coordinating fingerless mitts for Christmas. So Delaney's favorite color is purple, and her 2 friends' favorite colors are blue and red. So I am taking some of my leftover Lolo Did It sock yarn I think this is Hippo for Baby Purple. I don't remember what this color is. Maybe Hippo for Dad. And Hippo for Baby Red. And I am making coordinating fingerless gloves for her to give to them for Christmas, and then her to wear with theirs. And so those will be started soon. It does not take long to knit a pair of fingerless gloves, especially when I'm making kids size fingerless gloves. So those will be quick. And then I guess that's it. The rest that I have is new stash. So as I mentioned earlier, I got 2 tubes in the mail from Michelle. This one is Andromeda sock in the Warriors code, which is a lovely green. So I will be making, Mom asked me specifically for a pair of green socks. She's actually decided that she would like to stray away from stripy socks. It used to be that she only wanted stripy socks. Now she wants socks with a definite main color to go with her outfits. So she asked for some green. So I will be knitting most of this tube into socks for her. However, there seemed to be a lot in this skein, so I might be able to get 2 full pair instead of a full pair and a pair of shorties. So we'll see how that goes. But there's that, and then I also have 1 more tube. This is absolutely beautiful. This is Ren and Ollie in the colorway Sweet Pea, and I absolutely love how this turned out. So this will be a pair for me and a shorty pair for Delaney. So yeah, I'm going to be using part of these to show in the tutorial that I'm going to hopefully record this weekend for how to turn your sock snakes into socks. And then some yarn that I have gotten recently. I got my second to last, my penultimate color of the month club from Knitterly Things Vesper Sock, and I finally got orange. Yay! So this is Tangerine Dream with a sherbet mini. Super adorable. I love orange, as you know. Super excited to knit this up. So that means I only have 1 more coming. No, wait. Yeah. Maybe not. So I think this came at the end of... It came like the day after I recorded last. So maybe I have November's coming and then December's still coming. I don't remember. But I got this one. And then I got a pre-order that I had made also by Vesper Sock by Knitterly Things. And that is this one. This is a Sleeping Pumpkin Patch. And she showed a picture of it knit up on her on Instagram, and I fell in love with it. So it was pre-ordered, and I kind of like sometimes when this happens because I totally forgot about it until until it showed up. Until I got, well, I guess not until it showed up, until I got a notification in the mail, or in my email, that it was coming, that it had been shipped. So that was kind of fun. So there's that one, and then another pre-order that I had made that surprised me by sending a notification that was coming was from Mustache Yarn, and this is a very Hobbit Christmas with a figgy pudding mini to go with it. So yeah, this is going to obviously be for my Christmas socks. So it is going in my box to be knit for Christmas. And then lastly, I have some yarn from Joann's. I don't often buy yarn at Joann's, but yesterday was Black Friday. We always go to Joann's for Black Friday because, as I've mentioned before, I am one relatively crafty member of a very crafty family, and so my mom and aunt needed to go and pick up all the things for all the other crafts that they do, and I was kind of wandering around a little aimlessly, decided to go ahead and check out the yarn, but don't often want to buy any because I'm not the biggest fan of acrylic. But however, I saw this and I just kind of fell in love. I got 5 skeins of Bernat blanket, which I plan on using to crochet. Yes, I said the C word, crochet, and myself a blanket, like a throw. So I got it. The pattern I'm thinking of using is kind of like a granny stripes, only with bigger yarn. The size crochet hook I'm using is a 9, which is an M/N, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to learn the stitch. I think it's the same as the granny stripe stitch, and that way I can then learn the stitch on the bigger hook and then be able to transfer that knowledge to fingering weight to be able to make one out of all of my scraps, minis and whatnot that I've collected. That's my thought. This one will work up faster. We'll see how it goes. So this is sun-soaked, and this is almond, and this is smoky green. This is dark gray, and this is the reason why I wanted to get it in the first place. This is orange leaf. So, let me see if I can hold these all up at once. Probably not. They're huge skeins. So, these... there we go. This is going to be like a stripy or color-blocked throw that I'm going to hopefully be able to crochet for myself and not go insane. I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it at all. I'm not sure if the larger yarn is going to be difficult to work with, like I'm finding with the super bulky knitting, or, you know, if I'm just going to decide that crocheting in general is not something I want to do. Well, we'll just have to see how it goes. So yeah, that's it, guys. I don't have any more knitting to show you. Oh, you know what? I haven't finished any amazing books lately, but I am working on a book that I'm really enjoying. This is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. She wrote The Night Circus, which is one of my all-time favorite books, and it has been a long time coming for her second book. So I am reading this. I'm listening to it on audio. I'm making sure to listen to it in a way that I can savor it. There's some books that I listen to in audio, you know, like work or whatever, where I am only half paying attention, but I'm paying attention to this one so that I can really get as much out of it as possible. This book is gorgeous. I mean, the dust jacket is amazing. The end pages are amazing. The book cover is amazing. And the story inside, so far, pretty amazing. So really, really enjoying it. If you like Night Circus, I do suggest that you try this out, although I will say that it is a totally different book, so don't expect it to be a sequel Night Circus, you know, or anything like that. So yeah, really enjoying that. Okay, guys, that is it. I'm going to go ahead and log off now. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend, and happy knitting. Bye.